Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Tougies Take podcast. We are back for real this time. The three of us are here. I am joined alongside Mr. Sin for the win.
Yeah.
And,
no, I'm still pissed. My Vegas rant's gone.
I know, it's the worst. And Nhl Mills here as well. Nhl, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm working on something as we're doing this podcast. Something that maybe will be released by the time. Well, it's going to be released by the time this episode goes up. I'm not going to say what it is.
No, we will. Why not? Because it'll be up by the time this podcast.
It's the long-awaited return of Cold War.
A whole year in the making.
A whole year.
Oh my God! So yeah, the
overwhelming year wait ever. I swear to God.
I don't know why you're hyping up one of the worst Call of Duty games, but
right?
Yeah.
What's the matter with us? So literally, God, yeah. What? Let me get the date. October 25th, 2020.
Jesus.
Holy shit! Was when I uploaded the first episode of our EA versus 2K comparison series. That was for NHL 01 and the original NHL 2K. And now finally the second episode's coming out. I have been meaning to bring this back for a long goddamn time. And Endo's bringing his editing expertise into the mix. So, Tougie24 on YouTube, the main channel, it's there. Make sure to check that out if you haven't. And again, I think I talked about it on the little mini podcast that I did for Tuesday. As Sin referenced, again, we were here on Tuesday. We recorded a show, and there was a dumb mistake where Endo, rightfully so, led me through some changes with the recording software, with OBS, for the sake of Twitch, because Twitch is once again cracking down on copyrighted music. No problem. Change a couple things, not an issue. Except when you go on vacation for a week and a half and forget that it would affect the podcast, in which case we had an hour and a half podcast of just me talking to myself, and we lost one of our best shows, outright one of our best shows, and arguably Sin's peak moment on this podcast. He will get a second opportunity to run down the Vegas Golden Knights, although I don't know if it will be with as... Yeah, I don't know if it'll be with as much gusto this time.
I've processed it. I've enjoyed it. I'm already looking forward to the Sharks' new GM. Who are they going to put in as coach? How are they going to develop Eklund and Borderlo? That's where my mind's at. Vegas is done. I've danced on their grave. I'm not going to rub it in they don't live. They're not really in my head that much. It was just a fucking funny thing, and they're out, and that's it. They're dead. What else do you got to say? There's only so many ways that you could beat a dead horse, a dead steed. There we go. There's
you can go with dead horse because of the cavalry and some of the pregame intros they've done before. So, well, we will still have to talk about Vegas a little bit later on. We'll talk about some other things as well and get to some of your viewer questions in a moment. But again, as Endo and I mentioned, check out the YouTube side of things. And again, as well, patreon.com/Tougie24, getting you guys a lot more involved in some of the content that I'm making on the main channel, so make sure to check that out. And why not get to some of the other plugs? I mean, Endo's still streaming every once in a while on the Twitch side of things at twitch.tv/EndoMills, ENDO Mills. And Sin, a big Spotify debut recently.
Yes, sir. That's my EP that I actually recorded 4 years ago. That I put up on Spotify finally, but it's all paving the way to when I release my single, which is now fully mixed and mastered. It's where it is, and the release for that's coming in the next couple weeks whenever I'm able to get the accompanying video done of me playing all the instruments, because that's what I did when I recorded it, besides the keyboard. I had a buddy do that. Real good.
So on Spotify, feel free to search Paul Cinders.
Yes, sir.
CYNDERS. And listen to some good damn music. You might be surprised. This man has quite the voice on him. He undersells himself as a musician, I dare say. So make sure to check him out. With that, though, before we get into today's show, as always, we have to mention that the Tougies Take podcast is proudly brought to you by our lovely sponsor at Manscaped. Of course, you can use code Tougie at checkout for 20% off your order and free worldwide shipping at Manscaped. That is manscaped.com. Use code Tougie. Head to toe, they got you covered. And boys, I mean, the summertime's coming up.
Yeah.
You got to get those beach bods ready. You got to get that nice dad bod summer ready to go. Sin's going to head out to the beaches with a guitar over his shoulder and serenade the local.
Yeah.
And he will do so with freshly shaved balls.
Yeah.
As God intended.
It's the important part. So when I'm sitting there cross-legged, and if you look up my trunks, you're just going to see it's going to be so smooth.
Oh, God. It's like the old Chappelle show skit. His balls are as smooth as eggs.
Yeah.
I'm dying over here, still recovering from a cold. It's a lovely thing. As is Manscaped. Again, code Tougie at checkout. 20% off your order. Free worldwide shipping. With some circular deodorant, as Edna Mills, of course, is showing off.
You can tell I've used this because it is circularly phallic. It is getting there. It is perfect and pristine. Manscaped.
What?
You just wanted to say phallic. That didn't even make sense.
Look at this. Look.
Circular. No, you said circularly phallic. That's a contradictory term right there.
There's clean your
There's
nuts.
phallic and then there's circular. You could be one or the other. I've never heard them combined though.
Phallically circular.
You know, if Manscaped were to have a deodorant, it would be phallic, though, would it not?
It would absolutely be
that.
phallic.
Come on, that is very phallic.
Yeah, we're gonna have to censor the video portion of this podcast now.
It's growing.
Yeah, it's gonna fall off. You're wasting deodorant here.
How are gonna go? Look at the amount of protection you'll have with your armpits using this deodorant. It's amazing.
It's gonna. I don't want. Sorry, right on your desk like that. Like that's gonna sound. Just. I told you. You just wasted bloody good deodorant.
No, I didn't.
He did, but that's okay because he can buy more using code Tougie at checkout.
Exactly.
Manscaped.com. Gentlemen, with that, let's get to some viewer questions here. And we'll start off with a joint question from virtually everybody. Playoff predictions?
Yeah. Vegas won't be there.
That's a damn good prediction. Dare I say accurate. Sinstradamus over here. Holy hell. Yeah, unfortunately, everybody, the bracket's not set. Yeah. At least not as of the time of recording this.
I was hoping it would be. Because I won't be here Tuesday, so, you know. I always miss those episodes.
God, I mean,
I fucking changed my goddamn schedule I just realized that. I'm going to miss the playoff predictions because I changed my schedule to Chirp Vegas. I am so mad.
And the episode's not up anymore. It was being recorded.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, maybe we'll have to. Well, here's the thing. Maybe, just maybe. Well, then again, Sin and I, we have sports gamer stuff on Sunday and Monday. Mm-hmm. I want you to be here for the prediction. So we'll see if we have a show on Tuesday as per usual or not. It makes sense for all three of us to be here for that particular show. We'll talk about it afterwards, fellas. Everybody just pay attention to, I'd say, my Twitter for an update on what's going to happen podcast-wise. But, yeah, the bracket is not fully set. Most teams, actually, I think every single team has played at least 81 games with the exception, actually, of Winnipeg and Seattle, who are currently on 80. But in both the Eastern and Western conferences, you still have the wild cards that are undecided. So we can't quite do that full breakdown just yet. We will do that at the beginning of the week again. Hopefully, we'll be able to work it out so that Sin will be able to be here. And as well, yes, we will be doing a NHL Bracket Prediction contest again one more time, where I will probably just shit the bed. I am historically terrible at these NHL Bracket predictions. And we'll see which one of the three of us happen to not do so poorly. So that is the hope. But yeah, we can't do anything yet because we don't know. Are the Toronto Maple Leafs going to play the Tampa Bay Lightning or the Boston Bruins? Are the Rangers going to play the Penguins or the Caps? There's movement in the East that could still be there, movement in the West as well. We don't know where Nashville or Dallas will finish in terms of that wild card. So we can't really do that yet. What we can talk about, though, this next question comes from me. Your thoughts on the first round of the NFL draft, which, as we learned just a few moments ago, Sin had no idea that it happened last
This is what happens when you don't fucking go on Twitter anymore.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm very rarely on Twitter now, and I'm just like, damn, dude, I didn't even the shit. So I'm looking through right here, Sports Illustrated like grading thing.
Yeah.
Hey,
So,
Packers got an A. Let's go.
They did, but they didn't draft a wide receiver. Like, they got a really good defensive tackle. They just refused to give Aaron Rodgers offensive weapons. They refused to draft a wide receiver like he refuses to get vaccinated.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna get this because we're getting Debo.
I mean, you might. You might.
Doubt
as
it.
funny
There's
as that
no way
is.
San Francisco makes a trade with the Packers.
Apparently, they were offered a first-round pick from, God, who was it? I think a couple of teams last night. I think the Jets and the Giants both inquired, and the Niners didn't budge. But
this would be much better if we had Colt Johnson.
God, God, I want to play Madden. We've talked about this. I talked about it on stream on Thursday night as well. How I have no desire to play NHL franchise mode right now, whatsoever. I do want to go back and play Madden though, and I don't know what that.
I loved watching your franchise modes there. It was entertaining as shit because you get to
Oh,
watch the games, and it's actually kind of okay football. Like, I don't know what is up with every other sim looking like pretty good for the sport, and then NHL just looks like complete and utter dog shit.
You mean you don't like the AI constantly just trying to skate to the slot and losing the puck over and over?
No, absolutely not. You know what else I don't like is the way they fucking do that back and forth thing. Like, they'll be skating, they'll stop somewhere, and then they do this impossible agility thing back and forth with the fucking puck. Like, that doesn't happen. God.
Well, if you want to hear what Sin's referencing in terms of Atlanta Falcons quarterback legend Colt Johnson, head over to the second channel, TWOGIE24. You can catch the entire Falcons franchise run and everything else that we're doing franchise mode wise there. And that's where my NHL stuff's going to be now. So in terms of the rest of the draft, though, I brought this up primarily because I wanted to say thank you to the Detroit Lions for making the fastest draft pick in history, where the Jags go for the boomer bust pick of Trayvon Walker, and Detroit, within like 2 seconds, our pick is in. They didn't bother waiting the 7 to 10 minutes, and they took Aiden Hutchinson into Michigan. So I think that's finally a win for friend of the show, Deke Slayer, and all Detroit Lions fans. You finally got one. Unless you ruin him. There's a good chance of that, because it's Detroit. Hate to say it. Shout out to the Jets and the Giants, who actually on paper had a good night. I can't believe it. Imagine that, those two franchises actually doing something well. Shocking. And as well, I wanted to mention this. The New England Patriots took an offensive guard by the name of Cole Strange, who went to Chattanooga. And Patriots Twitter and Patriots Reddit are in a civil war right now over whether or not he still would have been there in 2 rounds or not. It has been only, 3 years? 4 years since a Patriots Super Bowl appearance, and a good portion of the Patriots fan base is crumbling at the seams. So for those who were waiting for that, now is a great time to go to Patriots Twitter and Patriots Reddit and just enjoy. Just enjoy. This is what you've been waiting for years. I am still very much of the opinion of trusting Bill Belichick, because they could lose 69 straight games and I would still call it nice, because he has earned the ability to lose 69 games in a row. That's the main takeaway for me from the draft. It's just, holy shit, are some people so goddamn spoiled. And I know people are like, yeah, we told you this, but still.
Yeah.
So, hey, the NFL draft. I don't know why drafts are still fun to watch on TV, but they are. And I will continue to watch them. Endo, even you said you were kind of checking out the draft and enjoying it. There were like 1,000 trades last night, too, which was nuts.
Yeah, there were a bunch of trades. One of the biggest ones that surprised me wasn't even like the trade itself. Is that I was looking at stats. So this player, Tyler Linderbaum, who I think was drafted by the Ravens, in his entire career in college, he only allowed 2 sacks in 1,144 pass protection snaps during his career. That's fucking nuts. That is a legitimate wall. That's a wall.
Linderbaum?
Yeah.
Yeah. He is a center. He was a center at Iowa.
Yeah, that's a wall.
Well, isn't it harder for them to be credited with giving up sacks as centers? Isn't that usually on guards or tackles? I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's kind of a mix.
Okay.
It depends on.
Just think like edge rushers and linebackers usually go to the gaps and shit rather than try to go up the middle. But
yeah, so it is still an insane stat line. So I am very excited for football season already, even though we're months and months away. I might have to bring back some more Madden, even though I just got done playing NCAA revamped not all that long ago, because, man, I don't know what it is about football games, but they can still be fun as hell. Our next question, hockey related, comes from RG Dust. Which team is going to make a Cinderella run in the playoffs this year? Now, we can kind of talk about that. In terms of who qualifies for a Cinderella run, Eastern Conference, I don't think you can look at Carolina. They're the Metropolitan Division winners. They're expected to do well. The Rangers, I'd say, would qualify.
Yeah.
Just because, again, you look at that roster and it's still just, you shouldn't be as good as you are, but somehow you are. The Penguins, I think, are in that category because of Crosby and Malkin and Letang and that core still kind of being there and going on one more run. I would qualify that as a Cinderella-esque run. Maybe more of a storybook run, because I think Cinderella often is in relation to a team that you'd have no expectation
like Crosby,
of making it.
Crosby always has a chance. I think anytime he's in the playoffs, that guy always has a chance. Like, he can go off.
Right. So now that I think about it, even in the East, I don't know if there is that Cinderella run potential. There are teams that could go on like a magical run, like the Toronto Maple Leafs, for example. But at the same time, as Endo Mills has told us all season long, the expectation is to get out of the first round. What the fuck? Like, it's not a Cinderella run. It's like, just live up to your potential, please.
Yeah.
It's not even Cinderella. It's Dodoy. Like, get out. Like,
yeah, I would say, yeah.
What you want me to say?
Rangers would be one. Man, who else is be in the playoffs on the East? There's so many strong teams in the East. It's like the Atlantic is so fucking stacked. Like,
I got one.
That's the problem. Like, how do you pick a Cinderella out of like 4 teams in your division which have 100 points? I know it's not that extreme, but it's kind of is. Like,
no, it is.
Do they all have
100? Every single playoff team in the Eastern Conference has 100 points.
See, like, what the fuck?
Every single one. Whereas in the West, you will have LA, Nashville, and Dallas all finishing with less than 100 points. That is how strong the East was this year.
Yeah.
So I'm still having a hard time dividing between like storybook run and Cinderella, because Cinderella, again, like it almost infers an upset, like the NCAA March Madness tournament. Like Minnesota, I wouldn't define it as a Cinderella run, but it would be a great story to see the Wild finally do something great. But then, I look at the Pacific Division. Would I define Calgary as a Cinderella run?
I almost would, simply because of when I look at the entire series in a nutshell. I was having a conversation in my Discord about this with some of my people in there, and they were like, they were considering like Calgary like an underdog. I'm like, they're first in the Pacific, right? They're like, yeah, but they always suck in the playoffs, and they were at such a point of uncertainty before this season started. I mean, even we were talking about, are they going to blow it up? Like, Goodrow could be gone. What are you going to do with Kachuk? Like, all this stuff, and then Daryl Sutter comes in. Fucking restrain this, like Walter White, and he turns that team around. I'm sorry, I had to make that reference. It's one of my favorite moments in Breaking Bad of all time.
Oh God, that was
just run around in tidy whities grabbing your crotch.
Beautiful.
I have that GIF even saved on my phone. Like, holy shit.
As you should. Edmonton, not a Cinderella run. You should be a playoff force. So in terms of the 3 teams I would label as a Cinderella candidate, LA, Nashville, and Dallas. Yep. The worst 3 of the playoff teams.
Yep.
I would put Rangers in there, though. I still think
that's fair.
Because here's the thing. They need Shesterkin to carry him. And then that's a true Cinderella story. They don't get anywhere without Shesterkin posting at least probably a 9-2, 9-2-5 throughout the playoffs or throughout the first round. Like, he's going to have to be that good.
Then there's Dallas, where, okay, Cinderella run, but 2 years ago they made the Cup final.
Even that was a Cinderella run.
Yeah, that's fair. And then, so for me, it comes down to two. LA and Nashville. LA is my choice for what team has the biggest potential to go on a Cinderella run of a team where it's like, if you win the Cup, I am legitimately shocked. That's how I'm going to phrase it. I can see Calgary, the New York Rangers, the Minnesota Wild. I will be stunned if the LA Kings were to win the Stanley Cup this year.
That's fair.
And we'll talk about them. And we can talk about them now. We can kind of take some stuff out of order here. Yeah. The Kings, Dustin Brown announced that he's retiring at the end of the season. Jonathan Quick is old as hell.
How old is he now?
This
37?
is a team. God, I will look it up really quickly.
I don't know.
He's 36.
Yeah.
He turned 36 in January.
Yeah, so he's not as old as you'd think because of his pedigree of when he won those cups. Like, he was still relatively young, but he played like a guy towards the end of his prime, like just man possessed.
Yeah.
I look at Dustin Brown, and we could talk about him really quickly too. And one of the big kind of debates that we had in the last show was like, okay, that line of Hall of Famer versus Hall of Very Good. I think Dustin Brown's going to be a candidate in that as well. Again, much like Ryan Getzlaf, another member of that 2003 draft class, first round pick, 13th overall by the Kings.
Does Dustin Brown's even have that many points in his career?
So I was about to read off his stat line.
Yeah,
obviously, he is a two-time.
I consider him the Hall of Shit and Hall of Elbowing and Kneeing people.
He is a two-time Stanley Cup champion.
Team.
1,300 games played, only 700 points. Not a Hall of Famer.
Higher than I thought, but yeah, not a Hall of Famer.
Right. So, I mean, obviously a fantastic player. And it's, I had a feeling, unlike with Getzlaf, where you were rather complimentary as a Sharks fan.
Yeah, fuck Dustin
I had
Brown.
a feeling the same level of love wouldn't be there for Dustin Brown.
Fuck Dustin Brown. Fuck him in his shaved ass head. His elbow
So
artist,
the Kings,
need hurdle and shit. Fuck you.
The Kings, I think, fit that Cinderella run potential more than anybody except for one team, and that's Nashville. However,
Yossi, though.
Well, here's the issue. Nashville, you look at this team, and Endo, we're getting there. You look at this team. We mentioned this on the last show, and I mentioned it, I think, in the re-recording. Matt Duchene scored 40 goals. Career season. First, I believe, 40 goal scorer in the history of the team. Here's a stat from Roman Josi. Josi has scored or assisted on 36.6% of all of Nashville's goals this season. The third highest mark by a defenseman in NHL history, and the highest since Bobby Orr in 1974-75, who had 39.1%.
Yeah, that would be Cinderella. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's even more so.
Oh, yeah.
Because UC Saros is hurt.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
A high ankle sprain diagnosis for UC Saros.
4 to 6
they overused
which normally is a 4 to 6 week recovery time.
Yeah.
Who's in net? I don't even know. Like, I don't know who's in net for Nashville because they play Saros every game, pretty much. Like,
So it's David Riddick or it's Ingram.
Connor Ingram. Yeah.
Here's
Go with
the
Ingram.
best part about this. I had a discussion with someone in Casimir Kaskasua's Discord. Love that guy. And I said, big issue here was that they played him 6 or 7 games. You don't play that guy 6 or 7 games. He hasn't played a 6th or 7th game. He'd be fine. He'd be completely fine. And someone said, well, that's not true. Like, he played the highest amount of games and the highest amount of minutes in the NHL. By far.
Yeah.
He played almost 4,000 minutes of hockey.
Jesus.
And someone said, well, so-and-so played like 46 games out of 52 games in the SHL. And I said, 67 is a bigger number than 50. Than like, what is it? 47. It's a bigger number. You have more playing time. You're more.
Also, the SHL schedule, I believe, is a bit more spread out. I could be
It is
wrong.
a lot more spread out. You're playing like maybe 2 games a week. Where the NHL, you can go playing 3 games a week to 4 games a week to 2 games a week. You never know exactly what it's going to be like. And I mean, you can also put into the Champions Hockey League as well and that as well, but that still doesn't really add up. But my issue now is it sucks that he's hurt. This team's going to have to figure out what they're going to do with their goaltending situation because, no offense to Connor Ingram and David Riddick, you guys aren't going to cut it unless you guys like really, really like haul ass and figure it out.
Well, here's the problem. David Riddick's stat line this season. 16 games, 11 starts,
Yep.
883 save percentage.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Connor Ingram has been a solid AHL goalie in his career. And he has had limited NHL time this season. 2 starts in the NHL in 906, had a 915 in the AHL this past season.
I think.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, continue. I'll make my point after.
no, it's just it's a disaster. And yeah, Endo's right. Saros has played more games than anybody else. There are 5 goalies who have started 60 games. Hellebuck, Demko, Markstrom, Vasi, the other 4.
Also, note how many of them are playoff bound right now. Only one of them. Reminder.
No, 2. Vasi and Markstrom.
Oh yeah, right. I forgot Markstrom. I forgot about Markstrom.
Yeah, because you still think of Markstrom as being in Vancouver, even though obviously Demko was in that mix.
Exactly.
Yeah, Sid, no, go ahead.
I think if you're Nashville, you go with Connor Ingram, and I'll tell you one big reason why you do that. Zatkoff. Do you guys remember Zatkoff for the Penguins? That man played solid in like the first round and a half or whatever when he had to fill in for someone.
Oh yeah.
Do it. Just fucking do it. If you did solid in the AHL, like I say you just throw it to him. Like throw it to a guy who I don't know. Like I feel like I don't know. It just, you don't know. Like I think Riddick's had so many chances in the NHL. Ingram really hasn't. And that's a guy who's like gonna try to, the most of his chance right there. And could catch, it could be a flash in the pan, you could catch lightning in a bottle. Like
I think
I
another
say
thing
you go with
too
Ingram.
is it would be a really good story for him to get the start and get a position in the NHL. After I think a few years ago he went through the protocol system for something unrelated. Yeah. And it'd be honestly a great story for him to get the nod and be able to help that team out. Because if they can get out of that first round and buy themselves some time and Saros makes a comeback, it's
going to take at least 2 rounds. Least 2 rounds till Saros comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem. Now, Ingram has played well in the AHL. Last 5 starts, 921 save percentage. So he's been hot recently compared to Riddick, who has an 875 in his last 5 NHL starts. So here's the problem, boys. Nashville will play either Colorado or Calgary.
Oh, yeah. See ya. That's it. You're gone. You're
and without UC Saros, man,
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You got nothing to lose. Throw in Ingram.
They are the definition. There is no other team that fits the bill of Cinderella run better. The problem is, for me, the original question was which team's going to make a Cinderella run this year? I have to say the Kings is the answer to that question because I just don't see how Nashville does it without Saros.
I would still say the Rangers too. I would say Kings and the Rangers because the Rangers still have to go through Toronto, Florida, Tampa, like one of those, like obviously, at least one of those, probably. So
the Rangers, their run right now is either going to be Pittsburgh or Washington in round 1.
Even matchup-ish.
And then the winner of either Carolina against Tampa or Carolina against Boston in round 2.
Yeah.
So it's a tough, dude. The Eastern Conference is a fucking nightmare regardless.
I would still qualify the Rangers this one because just for the reasons you said, you look at that roster, it's like not strong. They were like finding a way in the course of the year having a goal differential of like plus fucking 1, and they were like a well above 500 team with that. Like they just have always kind of found a way. So yeah, I think it could be Cinderella for them too. Anyway.
This next question comes from Hawks. Which goalie do you think will have the biggest impact in the playoffs this year that is not Andre Vasilevsky?
Yes.
So the answer is Connor Ingram.
Yeah. Connor Ingram and Igor Shesterkin.
You can look at, obviously, every team's starters and say, like, okay, yeah, I can envision, essentially, aside from Nashville, I can envision, essentially, this goalie doing well. In terms of the biggest impact in the playoffs, that isn't Andre Vasilevsky, though. Like I said, I think much like the last question, it's almost how do you word that? What is defined as the biggest impact for
stealing games?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's.
I would say Shesterkin and possibly even Jonathan Quick. Maybe we'll have to see how much of a product he was of the team defense in the past, but you never know when with a goalie. And Jonathan Quick has been that guy. Didn't he post like a 941 time like in the playoffs? He's absurd.
Yeah, we can go back to some of Jonathan Quick's stat lines in the past. Quick this year, by the way, a .910 save percentage in 46 games, which isn't that bad.
Respectable.
In the past, though, for Jonathan Quick, the first year the Kings won the Cup in 2011-2012, what's your official guess for his save percentage?
941.
Endo Mills.
923.
He had a 946.
Ooh, I was close.
In 20 games with a 141 goals against average.
So disgusting.
The next year, in 2012-13, the Kings obviously didn't make it back to the Cup final, but they had a 934, or Quick had a 934. And the last time Jonathan Quick played in the playoffs was 17-18. The Kings were swept. He had a 947 in those 4 games.
947 and you get swept?
And you got swept.
I'm telling you, the man haunts me. He people have always slept on the Pacific, but yeah, especially now they sleep on the Pacific. 3 years, the Pacific is going to be the gauntlet at at least 2 of the teams in California are going to be kick-ass.
For me, I think my official vote is I have to view this as what team do I think can go super far, and as a result, their goalie's playing well. Marc-Andre Fleury with the Minnesota Wild.
Oh, yeah.
That is my answer to your question.
That's a good
one. What goalie will have the biggest impact? I'm going with Flower.
That's not bad. That is pretty good, because he carried those Vegas teams so much, and then they dumped him.
And then what happened? And then they threw Robin Lehner under the bus, because Peter DeBoer is a piece of shit.
He's
which we also
got all
talked about.
Like I said, yeah. They're running out of swords at this point, but
Oh my god. Well, the good thing is he works at medieval times, so they can always furnish some more.
At this point he's running out of swords. Hey, now you get creative. Here's a mace. Here's a big old pike. Anything for the fans. Now go take this flower and hold it and give it to the young preteen girl up there who's with her family. Really weird, but that's something they do. You ever been to medieval times? Yeah.
I've only
the knight will go and hand a flower to a little girl in the stands.
Yeah.
I'm fighting for you.
I mean, back in those days, it was acceptable.
Fucking groomers. All right. Anyway, just kidding.
All knights were groomers. You've heard it here first. Can we get away with that being the episode title?
Yes. All knights are groomers, baby.
We'll put that into the maybe category.
I'm sorry, it just caught me off guard. Oh shit.
Oh god.
Thank you, Sid.
And do you have a goalie choice, or are we moving on?
I can't breathe, so just move on.
All right, we'll move on. Our next question comes from Mr. Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome. He's a streamer, by the way. You can catch him at twitch.tv/Doug_Dimma, DIMMA. Do you think Johnny Gaudreau is a Hart contender? Yes. Since he has the best 5-on-5 scoring and a +65, which is better than Matthews, McDavid, and he's second in the point race. So, to combine questions here. AJ asked, who's the most surprising bounce-back player? I think I can answer for all three of us in saying Johnny Gaudreau. Look at what Sin mentioned just a few minutes ago when talking about what the hell are the Flames going to do? Are they going to get rid of Gaudreau? Gaudreau has become the 14th player in NHL history to score 90 even strength points in a season.
What?
Yeah. Only the 14th player in history to get 90 even strength points. Joining, and listen to this fucking list, Wayne Gretzky, Guy Lafleur, Mario Lemieux, Yari Curry, Steve Yzerman, Mike Bossy, Phil Esposito. We always got to find a way to mention Phil Esposito.
Phil Esposito.
Jaromir Jagr, Ken Hodge, another Bruins legend, Marcel Dion, Paul Coffey, Peter Stastny, Brian Trottier, and now Johnny Gaudreau. What a fucking list of company he finds himself in. My God. He is that choice for the most surprising bounce back player. He is in contention for the Hart Trophy. Absolutely. He has been incredible. Calgary's been incredible. Matthew Tkachuk with one of the quietest 100-point seasons, one of the most underappreciated. Of course, we talked a lot about Daryl Sutter.
I wasn't even aware, but yeah, he's like Sutter's player. Like, a Matthew Tkachuk is Sutter's player. Like, yep.
Yeah, I mean, he has 103 points with 41 goals on the season. He, Gaudreau, and Elias Lindholm all have 40 goals. It's insane. It's absolutely insane just how good Calgary has been. And it's a shame because in a sense, at least I feel like from what I've heard in a general media sense, they have been a bit overshadowed by their Alberta brethren in Edmonton because of the Oilers' struggles. They've been overshadowed in how much they've been talked about because of someone like Vegas struggling like they have. And that's very typical in sports. Let's focus on the negatives instead of the positives.
Yeah, and when it comes to the positives, it's over in with Matthews in a 60-goal season, which is impressive as fuck, I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, it's like, I wasn't even really aware. I haven't really been thinking about the Flames. Like, yeah, they're doing good. You know, I wasn't thinking about just how absurd some of their star players are doing. Tkachuk, is he on a bridge deal, or did he? No, didn't Brady get the paying for the player?
No,
what you're turning into.
Oh, Brady got paid too.
But Matthews on a shorter term, right?
Yes, yeah. He is at the end. He is an RFA at the end of the year. He is at the end of a 3-year, $7 million per deal that he signed back in back in September of 2019.
Yeah, so I was thinking, maybe they got him for that 8 or 9 mil 8-year that like Brady did, but yeah, I got him mixed up. And I'm like, he's gonna be earning that. But yeah, this is Flames management, man. You're gonna have to pay for that, man.
Yep, he is an RFA. Gaudreau is a UFA. Andrew Mangiapane is an RFA.
Oh boy.
They have some. They got some big moves to make in the off season, but for now, they have a great chance at potentially going on a run here, and it's because of the likes of Johnny Gaudreau. And the final question comes from BK, and this was the opportunity for Sin to potentially reconjure up some of that magic. And I feel like there's a good chance. He asks, or they ask, why does everybody hate Vegas? Sin, take it away.
Because they had the expansion draft completely rules changed to favor them. Florida gifted them a basket full of good players after that. You know, they did go on a miracle run, but they're in a weak Pacific Division. All right, I can't really do the whole Jim Carrey thing for too much longer. Basically...
And Speedy!
Yeah. That explains the abrasion on your palm. Yeah, so okay, so that's all cool. You know, like all that kind of stuff aside, all the the fact that the whole new direction of the NHL is to give them all the tools available to try to make them as competitive as possible, because you don't want to have an Arizona situation or whatever. It leaves a sour taste in the mouth of any fan of a team who was an expansion team in the past, who had to start with absolute dog shit and build over 5 years. But what really has done it for me is it's kind of the unforeseen, or at least for most people, at least for the league, the unforeseen negatives of kind of doing that. You have a fan base who doesn't necessarily appreciate the process of building a hockey team, and who will encourage management to make them kind of moves they've made. Management who treats players essentially like absolute garbage, Like they've taken, oh, it's a business and put it into fucking, ludicrous speed, if I can make a Spaceballs reference.
Luda.
And like, okay, just like how did they look at how they treated Marc-Andre Fleury. Ignore the other people, the Nate Schmitz, steroids, by the way. What was it, Howla? Whoever the fuck else that they basically have completely screwed over by way of not telling that they've been traded or moved, but letting them find out through social media or through friends and family, etc., so forth. Just look at what they did to Marc-Andre Fleury, the face of the franchise, the man they wheeled out center fucking stage in a Vegas uniform just a few years before that. Look what they did to him. Are you fucking kidding me? And then look at the result. And then they try to do what the Lightning did and put some people on LTIR who arguably didn't have to be put on LTIR. They bring in Jack Eichel. Look what happened there. You failed on that front too. And you broke Logan Thompson's heart, and that's not okay. But all things aside, people like to watch people fall. When you have a meteoric rise like that, as Vegas did, and then they become these top dogs with a very, very incessantly annoying fan base, everyone's going to eventually root for you to suck. That's how it goes. People love underdog stories, but you know what they like more? They love seeing a Titan fall. And that is what Vegas has done. And the fact that it has happened in such a short amount of time, and the better fact is, it is self-inflicted wounds for the most part. And that's what happens when you don't respect the process of building a hockey team, when you don't do it properly. Vegas saw, oh my God, we can compete, and went all in on that without years and years of established drafting. The video portion of this is going to be hilarious. So that to me is why everyone kind of would despise Vegas. And yeah, you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, remember a few minutes ago when he said he was done?
This is a new topic,
Yeah.
baby.
I knew he wasn't done.
Standing ovation.
I think you...
Standing ovation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm like...
The Academy applauds.
Standing ovation.
The Academy, all right. I get to slap someone on stage.
Well...
I just got slapped on stage.
That was like Michael Scott's Chris Rock impression, man.
Yeah. I had one a few days ago, but my voice is still kind of messed up from the vid, so... David.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. While we're here, talking about non-playoff teams, obviously Vegas now, for the first time in their history, historic, they have missed the playoffs for the first time in franchise history, as Sin alluded towards. They completely wasted Logan Thompson. In 3 games, San Jose, Dallas, and Chicago, they went to a shootout. They scored 0 goals on 17 attempts in the shootout. Meanwhile, Logan Thompson only allowed 1 goal in each of the games on those 17 attempts.
Yeah, he was
phenomenal.
Yeah, 14 for 17 as a goaltender on saves is stupid in a shootout situation. Like, that's actually stupid.
So now for Vegas, looking ahead, they don't have their first round pick this year. Thanks, Jack Eichel.
They don't have Krebs anymore either.
Yeah.
No Tuck, who was on a fantastic deal for where he's playing at now. I'm like, middle 6 guy, you better, that deal should be pretty good. No, he might be legit top 6, man. I will eat my words on that.
In terms of expiring deals, $2 million of Matthias Janmark coming off the books, $5 million for Riley Smith. I'll be intrigued to see if he's back. Also currently on LTIR, Laurent Brossois, who's getting paid $2.3 next year as well. $1.2 million to Nolan Patrick.
How is Brossois making that much money?
He was okay in Winnipeg.
Well, I'm thinking of Bebo. Sorry. Okay, yeah. Sorry. I was
so
thinking.
Brossois has been stupidly inconsistent which makes this contract even more absurd. I would imagine they're going to find a way to trade him or Robin Lehner because you need to make room for Logan Thompson. Let's see. 14 games in 17-18 with Edmonton, 883. Goes to Winnipeg, puts up a 925. And then an 895. And then a 918. And then this year, his first year in Vegas, an 895. How you give that guy $2.3 million, I have no idea. No idea whatsoever. Obviously, all things stay the same. They have to shed some cap. I'd imagine Evgeny Dadonov gets traded. They tried before. I don't know what's next.
They just gave him a team award, too. It was hilarious.
Jesus. Like, in the conversation we had that's unfortunately lost to time, if I'm a fan of this team, and Sin leaves the show, if I'm a fan of this team, I don't want Kelly McCrimmon to be the GM anymore. I certainly don't want Peter DeBoer to be the head coach. Again, I mentioned what we had discussed before, his verbiage in terms of essentially throwing or making it sound like he was throwing Robin Lehner under the bus for not being there and fighting with the guys. Peter DeBoer needs to go.
Yeah, that can't stand.
And then...
And I'll reiterate what I said. I never heard him talk like that at all with the Sharks, with Martin Jones in net. Like, he's being told by upper management that his job's on the line. I think that's the only real reason you're going to get that kind of heat from Pete DeBoer in the media presser. That man doesn't say jack shit usually. Anyway, continue.
No, I agree in terms of anything that I've ever heard. This team's in cap hell, as we all knew they'd be. They are now, as always, there's always a bunch of interesting teams to watch in the playoffs. They are the most interesting. Because what do? Where do you go from here? Who stays management-wise? Who stays in terms of players? You essentially had the entirety of the NHL dance on your grave in terms of just being like, I have never seen social media come together the way they did to dance and
oh my God, yeah.
tap dance on a team's grave like this. Never seen it to that extent. I'm very intrigued to see what they do next. And, it's almost, I think the way I heard it summed up is it's like it was Icarus flying too close to the sun. Mm-hmm. And how else would Vegas blow it than by gambling a little bit too much and pushing it a little bit too far, and it blew up in your face.
That's why I call them the Vegas High Rollers. Like from time, I've been calling them that. And like what you're saying about uniting together and like fighting, basically stomping on their grave, reminds me of I think it was last year when our favorite game franchise and company, EA Sports NHL, put out a tweet. I think it was towards Nick Merckx about like doing something in collaboration with them, and then everyone was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Make a better game." It was the greatest day I've ever seen in my life.
Who's Nick Merckx?
Big streamer.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Everyone was like, shut up, fuck you. And it's like, yeah, I'm like, holy crap.
The sentiment works out. I can tie this together, Endo. That NHL tweet was essentially people saying, hey, but you have creators who are already here that you could work with. And for the Vegas Golden Knights, it's, yeah, you have, you could get Jack Eichel, but you have Alex Tuck and Peyton Krebs that you could work with here. But you always got your eye on somebody else. Yeah. The downfall of NHL and the Vegas Golden Knights.
The grass was always
tied
greener.
It together.
And unfortunately for Vegas, they traded all their good prospects for it. And now they have no first. They have no real farm system of a bunch. I mean, to be fair, they've had a few drafts, but it's...
Looking at their farm system, in terms of people who haven't been signed, Brendan Brisson, who was in the NCAA, is their only unsigned first-round pick. Aside from that, they have nobody else from the second. It's just third-round picks and beyond, and you can debate how good those players are looking, perhaps. And then in terms of who they do have signed, they do have some decent players, Pavel Dorofeyev, Zach Dean, but they don't have that slam-dunk prospect anymore that you look at to be the next guy to really step up. Because they traded all of those guys.
Yeah,
away.
And now Dadonov and Riley Smith are 100% going to be gone just to fit under the cap, pretty much.
And then who knows what happens with Robin Lehner.
Yeah, and then what's your top six if Smith and Dadonov are gone?
Well, your top line would presumably be essentially something like Pacioretty, Eichel, Stone. And then second line, Marchessault on a wing, Carlson at center, Chandler Stevenson if you wanted to play him on the wing instead.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like right now they have Carlson on the third line because he's not doing so hot, and he's signed to what, 4 or 5 mil?
He is signed to $5.9 million. Holy fuck!
Oh.
Until 2027.
Yep.
Whoo!
Crazy what a 40-goal season will buy you.
Holy shit!
Just imagine if they had state tax, what that contract would look like. Just imagine. Look, they even blew that, man. They have all the advantages. They even blew the fact that they don't have state tax.
Yeah, I mean William Karlsson's he's a 40 to 50 point guy right now.
Yeah, like, that's not bad, but that ain't even worth $6 million these days.
We could tap dance on Vegas's grave for the rest of the show. I do want to talk about the two other teams, although Endo, go ahead. Unless you just
he was just talking about him eating popcorn. He was celebrating.
Fair enough.
I'm here to do it.
Fair enough. The two other teams, of course, that have been confirmed to not make the playoffs that we haven't gotten a chance to talk about yet. First up, the Vancouver Canucks.
That's good.
Honestly, we look at their future and say, hey, it's brighter than what we thought it would be. They took way too long to fire Jim Benning and to make a change at head coach, but they did. Patrick Alvan in a GM, Bruce Boudreau in as their head coach. They stormed back. They almost made the playoffs. They're not in that bad of a spot. Their only RFA coming up is Brock Besser. No major UFAs or really any major contracts that they have to hand out or try to maneuver. You still have certain contracts that you look at, like Tucker Pullman making 2.5, and it's like, maybe.
Yeah, they got no UFAs because they're all signed to 5 years.
Yeah, or they traded them to them to Arizona.
For longer term. Oh god, I can't believe they let Benning continue to do that shit. Oh boy, yeah. Winnipeg missing is bad. Like,
yeah.
that's
so
bad.
Vancouver, we don't have too much to talk about. I'm intrigued to see what they do, but there's a general sense of optimism because finally there's a new guard at the helm of that team. Now we just wait to see what they do. Thankfully, somehow, they do have their first-round pick this year. I'm shocked Benning didn't find a way to trade that to try and hold on to his job. For Winnipeg, this was one of the strangest seasons that almost, in a sense, went under the radar. You had Paul Maurice step down as the coach of the team mid-season, and now this squad misses the playoffs. Now, yes, they do have their first-round picks, but you have Blake Wheeler making $8.25 for 2 more years after this. What's going to happen with Mark Scheifele? His name keeps getting thrown out there a lot, making only 6.1 for the next 2 years. Pierre-Luc Dubois is an RFA. He made $5 million this year. Presumably, he's going to get a raise. He had a pretty good season. But this team, essentially, you look at it, it's like you were too good to not make the playoffs.
Yep.
To be selling at the deadline, moving on from Andrew Kopp. I'm very intrigued. They have essentially become the Calgary Flames. They are in the exact same spot as Calgary was heading into the season. What are you going to do? What direction are you going to go? Because you are too good to not succeed to the extent that we saw this season.
Yeah, that's a real comparison. I can't believe it. Like, I'm sure Hellebuck didn't do great, but it's not just on him. I remember we talked about the pregame where, like, Hellebuck's going to have to do good for that team to succeed, but it was like he didn't do great. Maybe he's not as bad. I don't know if I have his numbers in front of me right now.
I do. 910 save percentage with a 3.0 goals against average.
Yeah, like a 910 isn't awful, but the above 3 GAA speaks more volume. So, like, he didn't do terrible, but he didn't post what he normally posts, essentially. And so the team suffered because of that, but obviously a lot of other reasons the team suffered.
To make another comparison, he's in John Gibson territory. Are his numbers dropping because of him, or the team in front of him, or both?
Yeah, that's... Goddamn, your comparisons today are on point, Tougie. Just fucking on point. I used all my mojo
Now-
dunking on Vegas, and here you are. Just
Which is perfectly fine. You know, you might be able to argue, though, I think Ducks fans certainly would, that this Jets team is certainly better than anything John Gibson played in front of once his numbers started falling.
Absolutely.
So there is that, too.
That's why we call them
certainly,
hella suck.
Episode title right there, maybe. We got a lot in contention. That would certainly just add fuel to the fire for the Jets. Yeah, just I don't know. I find them certainly more interesting in terms of what direction you're going to go in, as compared to a Vancouver, where again, like I said, a little bit more optimism. And then Vegas just takes the Winnipeg situation and, of course, cranks it up to 11 because it's Vegas and nothing can be overly simple. The only other non-playoff team I wanted to quickly talk about, the Montreal Canadiens, who have finished with the NHL's worst overall record for the first time since 1939-1940.
Uh-oh. I don't like this. You know what that means. World War III's gonna start, boys. Fuck!
I knew that's where you were going with that.
Real shit.
So, we talked about Montreal a lot. Another one of those teams like Vancouver made the appropriate changes that they needed to make. They are set up pretty damn well. They have 2 first-round picks this year, depending. Well, yeah, Calgary's pick won't be top 10, so they definitely have 2 first-round picks this year, if I'm not mistaken. And hey, now for Habs fans, you don't have to worry about them potentially taking the American and Logan Cooley. At least it's not a slam dunk guarantee, whereas before they always took American players. That said, as hyped up as this draft is, I feel like some people might just be learning that Connor Bedard's not in this draft. He's next year, everybody. And I don't know what that says about this draft, where I feel like so much of the conversation, surrounding who's going to get the number 1 pick next year. Like Shane Wright, solid season in the OHL with Kingston, but he has just been like totally usurped in terms of hype level.
Yeah.
Where, yeah, there are some good choices. This should end up being a pretty potent draft by the time it's all said and done. Like 10 years from now, we should be able to look back at this first round and say, oh yeah, damn, that was a pretty good first round. But I don't know. I'm very much intrigued to see what happens, and I certainly hope that Arizona still ends up with the number 1 overall pick, just to see the internet explode with anger and rage and Bettman fixed it comments.
College Stadium.
He plays in front of less people than he would have in Kingston. Oh no.
Little baby Moochie, I want to get the popcorn to the tears. Oh my god. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, that's your...
Does Kingston? By the way, shout out to head coach of the Kingston Frontenacs, Luca Caputi, as I just learned.
Pooty.
Leafs and Ducks legend, Luca Caputi.
Aren't you a little old for a pooty?
God, shut up. The Kingston Frontenacs capacity for hockey, I believe, is higher than what the Coyotes are going to have moving forward. They have 5,614 listed as the capacity at Leon Center in Kingston. So, Shane Wright moving on up. Unless he goes to Montreal, in which case, hey, we'll see what happens. To wrap up the show, wanted to talk about a couple of the playoff teams that we have. Wanted to shout out the Dallas Stars, who essentially all but ended the Vegas Golden Knights' playoff hopes. Jason Robertson, the Phil Esposito of his time. Jason Robertson with 40 goals on the year. Here is a stat from Matthew DeFranks on Twitter, who is a writer for the Dallas Morning News. In the modern era, 1967 and onward, wonderful year for Endo, the complete list of U.S.-born players with more goals in their first 127 games than Jason Robertson. Neil Broughton, Jimmy Carson, Austin Matthews. Now, the former 2 names, probably not the most impressive in the world. Solid NHLers. Jimmy Carson was a part of the Gretzky trade, actually. And then Neil Broughton, very solid player as well. I think won gold in Lake Placid on the U.S. Olympic hockey team there.
Really?
But
80?
Yeah.
80?
Yeah. I think
What was
so.
the name?
I think he was on that team. Nhl Bracket? I think he was on that team.
I don't know.
Yeah, member of the 1980 Olympic hockey team.
Wow,
Gold
he
medal
was. I
Classic.
can't. That's like one of the names I don't remember. Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
I even remember the backup goalie's name, and I don't remember that guy. What the fuck?
You, that's in. Who was the last guy cut from the team?
Oh, fuck you.
No.
I don't remember.
Most people remember his name over Nhl Bracket, despite Nhl Bracket having great success at the NHL level. It was Ralph Cox, by the way.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
God.
The backup was
So the
Janicek, by the way.
Yeah, Steve Janicek. There you go. God, that's the next quiz we'd have to do. Name as many members of the 1980 hockey team as you can. Shout out to Rob McClanahan. What a name. Yeah. Jason Robertson's fucking sick. And the point to bring this up, he, alongside the other two members of that top line, Rupe Hintz and Joe Pavelski, have dragged the Stars to the playoffs. Joe Pavelski, by the way, setting a career high in points, Mr. Sin for the win, cracking 80 for the first time in his career at the young age of 37 years old.
Very glad we kept Kane instead of Pavelski. It hurts a lot. But you know what? I'm so happy for Joe Pavelski because he's an incredible player and he deserves this. And
well, Evander Kane's contract's off the books, and no, that's right. Pavelski signed an extension.
1 year.
He did. A 1 year deal.
He would not come back to San Jose. Not after the way he was treated and the way he was left. There's no fucking way. Like, as the captain of the team, doesn't get an extension, isn't offered the term that he wants, gets the term elsewhere, and he continues his high level of production, doesn't even take a fucking step off.
Yeah. It's rough.
Yeah.
It's a rough time. The Carolina Hurricanes, heading into this season, had the goaltending duo of Antti Ranta, who has the same bone density as the fish with glass bones from SpongeBob.
Oh my god.
And Frederick Anderson. Yet they just became the first duo to win the Jennings Award in their first season with the new team. They have both managed to actually stay healthy and perform at a high level. But do people still have confidence in them heading into a playoff scenario?
I do. I have it in Freddie Anderson.
Do you think it was just a Toronto thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Toronto fans blast anyone they can. There's a new scapegoat every year. I'm sure Endo will attest to that fact. Unfortunately, Anderson became the scapegoat. But here, Anderson was the reason for, at least before he was traded, for the reason for them even going as deep as they did sometimes. I know it's not saying a lot when they're deep as they go is Game 7, but at the same time, man, he was so good for that team, and now he has defense in front of him. Imagine him winning a William M. Jennings now that he has defense in front of him.
His stat line this season, 217 goals against average with a .922 save percentage.
Give it to him.
Solid.
Fantastic.
Absolutely
Not quite Vezina caliber, but
you don't need him to
consistency that they needed in goal.
That's a balanced-ass team that they have in Carolina. It's a solid team.
Do you remember
25th night of September?
Yes. Do you remember who the Hurricanes had in goal last season?
Peter Mrazek and
Nedeljkovic.
Littering and
it was.
Yeah, that's right.
There's one more. There's actually one more, and it's relevant to Sin. There you go.
Bitch.
So yeah, their goaltending last year, Nedeljkovic had that .932 save percentage in 23 games.
Better trade him.
Mrazek had a .923 in 12 games, and Reimer had a .906. You move on from that and still get super consistent goaltending. Might have to do with the team in front of them quite a bit.
Yeah, it does. But you're still getting rid of it.
But at the very least, hey, that's a good spot for a netminder to be in. I mean, certainly. Nedeljkovic, by the way, this year dropped from a .932 last year behind Carolina to a .901 behind Detroit. So, oof. Last thing I wanted to mention, your Boston Bruins.
Oh boy.
Because last night they pooped on the Buffalo Sabres. Could have used someone like Jack Eichel to score some goals, you fucks. Sit there and turn your backs on him, acting like, oh, he fucking quit on the team. He couldn't fucking get the surgery he needed because your ownership group fucking sucks. But they pulled off one good trade. Now it's fuck Jack Eichel. Fucking ridiculous. You got pooped on.
Buddy.
You got shat on. You didn't make the playoffs. You might make it next year. Oh, the Atlantic Division better watch out. Yeah, watch out for Buffalo when the Panthers and the Leafs and the Lightning and the Bruins exist. And the Habs probably won't be as shit. Watch out for Buffalo. Watch these nuts. Patrice Bergeron with a hat trick for career goal number 400. Linus Ullmark gets his first shutout as a Boston Bruin and hugs Jeremy Swayman like they've never hugged before because they're such beautiful boys, and it came against his former team in Buffalo. And you dumb sons of bitches, you gave me confidence heading into the playoffs because the Boston Bruins finally ended a power play drought of 0-39. More than 70 straight minutes of an unsuccessful power play because Buffalo get dunked on. Anyway, your city's beautiful. I actually drove through it. Buffalo's a little bit underrated. Shout out to the Buffalo Bison's ballpark. And, they will be pretty good in the future. At the same time, lighten up on Jack Eichel. You can't sit there and take victory laps because, you also missed the playoffs, even though the trades worked out equally as well for both sides, as in neither of your playoff teams yet. I'm feeling a bit more confident about the Bruins. And it's a great way to stay in shape. Oh, God. Felt good to get that.
We exchanged rants, I like.
Yep, we did. And would you like to
And if you're not watching on the video side of things, you're missing all the funny shit.
Yeah, this is the ultimate time to watch on the video portion. Again, Tougies Take Podcast on YouTube. Easy enough to find. Endo, would you like to go on a rant to kind of round out the show, or have you just enjoyed ours enough?
Yeah, baby, fuck! The Maple Leafs got a fucking good past the second round! They don't... I don't know.
No, I just got a notification that NHL 22 is $7.99 on Amazon, so that's fucking hilarious. That's my rant. It's fucking
wouldn't pay it.
Yeah, still wouldn't pay it, dude.
You got it for free.
Only reason I have it's because I didn't fucking pay for it.
Exactly.
Whew.
Pretty sure we all here got a copy somehow for free, and all three of us want a refund.
$7.99
Yeah.
In April. It's not even like half a year. It's just about half a year.
Yeah, it's like halfway through the life cycle.
That's still super low. It should be like 20.
This is usually when they put the game on Game Pass anyway. Like,
oh, do they?
It's around the playoffs or at the end of the playoffs?
Second week of playoffs, they put it on Game Pass, I think.
Well, see, that's why I wouldn't pay for it then, because I could get it for free in a couple of weeks.
God, we thought 21 was bad. Holy shit.
Oh, God. Let's not talk about NHL 22 right now. Like I said, I prefer to focus on the positives, like the fact that, again, right now, by the time you're listening to this, head over to Tougie24 on YouTube. Check out the most recent episode of our EA versus 2K head-to-head series. Again, the Patreon's there. Patreon.com/Tougie24. You can help us make videos and decide stuff and do cool shit for as little as $1 a month. And I thank you for helping me and essentially putting treats into the treat cabinet for my dog. She might have her own dedicated treat cabinet. I'm a horrible sap. Yeah, Twitch there too. You guys know the deal with me. Endo, what do you got going on aside from dynamite editing skills?
A lot. I'm gonna finish this bag of popcorn, and I'm gonna finish off the last literally minute of this video, and then it'll be given to Sweeto Toog, and then by the time this is up, you'll be able to watch it on the videos of the stuff on the YouTube channel Tougie24, and then I will get started on the rest of the Asset Plan bunch, because there's a lot of videos on there.
Oh, you are going to edit those, huh?
Oh, I'm going to those were fun to edit. I'm going to edit on stream so I can make some money that way too as well.
Feel free. Oh, God. Those, for anybody that doesn't know, that is the series where I play Hockey Ultimate Team in NHL 22. And I get mad I get big mad.
Imagine. I couldn't do it.
Don't.
I'm not gonna. I absolutely refuse to play the gameplay of NHL 22 right now.
Don't.
I'm really, really committed to stopping so much anger from coming out of myself.
And at the same time, you and I will just continue to laugh at the anger of other people as we do coverage, of course, for Sports Gamer. That's sportsgamer.gg every Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. Follow them on Twitch. Sam, what do you got going on aside from the music, the broadcast, and the YouTube?
Yeah, aside from everything. Yeah, I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. Follow me at Paul Cinders. You can keep up. You can see like what's going on in my life, and it also doubles as like my music page, I guess, as it is. It's got a link on there to my Spotify and whatnot, and yeah, I'm just doing stuff, man. Just enjoying life, being present.
Just a California man in a California
working that
world.
California 9 to 5.
As all that, if that is not the name of your first album, we're not friends anymore. Like that is just ready, man.
I'm gonna put it on the list. I have a list of possible names for the album that I'm dropping. Which, by the way, I'm recording all of it myself, full instrumentation, recording most of the instruments myself.
Like at least it has to be the name of like an EP or something. Like have it be the title of like a 2-track, like anything.
Yeah, or
anything. It has to be
9 to 5, and then like every like
California 9 to 5.
Spell out California with the first letters.
Beautiful. Everybody, with that, we thank you very much for watching and listening to the podcast. Again, we will be back at the beginning of next week, date pending. So we can try to work out a schedule here to make sure that Sin is on so that we can talk about the playoffs with you. We'll figure it out as we move forward. For now, though, again, thank you. If you're watching the YouTube side of things, hey, like and subscribe. If you're on an audio platform, rate the podcast.
Make it splash on that like button.
That's a reference I haven't heard in a long time. We have a 4.9 rating on Spotify, I discovered this morning.
Let's go.
Right.
A 4.9.
Apparently all the trolls are on Apple. I don't know what that's at, but
Apparently.
when I first checked, it had 3 reviews, and I'm pretty sure they're all 1 star. Like,
oh,
what
God.
fucking
Hold
pricks.
on. Let's get the updated look at Apple Podcasts.
That's where the dislikers from YouTube go. They just go to Apple Podcasts.
Oh, God. Let's look at the Tougie Steak Podcast on Apple. What is our rating
You can check it.
on there? Let's see. It is a 3.7. So Apple likes us a little bit less. I don't know if I can look at the ratings. We got a bunch of 1 stars. I think I know where those came from in the early days of changing over the podcast. I think I know where those came from.
Bring back all whatever.
There's no in between. It's either a 1 star or a 5 star. Which perfectly sums up this podcast. It really, really does. Everybody, we thank you. We will see you in the month of May. How fucking weird is that?
Yeah.
It's the last podcast of April.
Oh, boy.
What the hell,
It's almost my birthday.
What is time?
Me too.
Almost.
When are you born, Endo?
Cool.
13th.
May?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I'm May 7th.
Damn.
I thought it was going to be birthday bros for a minute.
No.
It was so close. Well, hey, May 7th, that's not a podcast day. May 13th, that's not a podcast day either.
No,
so that's good. No,
Friday the 13th.
no scheduling conflicts. 13th's up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it is.
Gotcha,
You're right,
bitch.
it is. Yep. Yeah, it is. Well, we'll see if Endo shows up on his birthday. See how much heart he has. Or will he be like the Leafs
Gotcha,
in the
bitch.
playoffs and fall short? We gotta get those Leafs jokes in there now before the Bruins end up playing the Leafs and Endo and I become bitter enemies. God help us all. Goodbye, everybody.